engrossed in the affairs of others. And in so doing, you would also find self-fulfillment. I gave a talk just a couple of days ago at a Quran session of somebody who had just passed away. And I mentioned a story of a woman who had lost her son. And she was depressed. She was in a horrible state. And all she can think about, all she wanted in life was the opportunity to have her son alive again. So she went to somebody who was learned in the community. And she explained her dilemma. Look, my son has passed away and I want my son back. And he looked at her and he said, I think I can do it. So she said, what do I need to do? But you have to do something. He said that you need to find a magic mustard seed. Magic mustard seed. And when you find this magic mustard seed, you bring it back to me. This magic mustard seed can be found in a home where there is no sorrow. You find me a home where there is no sorrow. You ask for this mustard seed, find it and bring it back to me, and then I will bring your son back to life. So she said, okay, that's fine. And off she went looking for this mustard seed. So she thought, where should I go? And the first place that she thought of, well, I'll go to somebody who is quite rich, quite well off. So she went and knocked on the door, explained her dilemma, and then the people said in the home said, this is not the home that you want. And they began to share with her some of their tales of sorrow that they had experienced. And she became so engrossed in what they were talking about, they invited her inside, and she spent time with them. And then she left. But she didn't find the mustard seed. And so she went from home to home. Maybe it's in the poor people's home, maybe it's the rich people's home, different types of home, looking for this magic mustard seed. And everywhere she went, she heard stories of sorrow, stories of things that after a period of time with hearing all of these stories, she found that maybe she can become a source of comfort for them. And as time went by, the thought of her son, she found a sense of self-fulfillment. She became so engrossed in taking care of the needs of others that she found what she was looking for. She did not find her son back, but she found something that was able to replace, in a sense, that which she had lost. And that is something, and if you think, I mean, we go back to the seerah, we will be going to back to the seerah, inshallah. But if you think about it, if you think about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after he became a prophet, and even before he became a prophet, how concerned he was with the wider society, how engrossed he was, to the point that he would become so depressed at times when he would go to people and they would not respond to the message of Islam in a positive manner. But it is something that he continued throughout all of his life. He had very little and he cared for very little. But that is what brought him that sense of self-fulfillment, inshallah. So this is something I wanted to remind us of, inshallah. So this is where the program was held the last time. It was in the Success Center. And alhamdulillah, we had a couple of programs there recently. And Brother Arif will be with us, inshallah. He has two. I know many of you loved his sessions that he did on the last time, and he will be coming back, inshallah, to do a couple of sessions. A bit on transformational leadership. I'm not going to go into that very much. But I just wanted to remind you of some of the things that we had written about the profile of what we would like. I know some of you have been looking, and we had a discussion this morning about what type of person is best suited to be able to meet the demands of living in a contemporary society. And I hope that you came up with some of these things. We need young people who are open to the diversity of thought. There is not just one way of doing something. There are so many different ways. And we have to learn to be able to embrace what others are doing. Not thinking, sometimes we become so narrow-minded that we don't see We don't see that there is something beyond what we are doing. And aspirations to become positive agents of change. Change is what we want. Change in ourselves and change in the wider society. And then commitment of time and energy to learning. And Brother Hassan mentioned the whole area of learning, which is so important. It's such a sad situation that we find ourselves now, where not just young people, but all Muslims on the whole overall are people who somehow do not read. They just do not read. I undertook a small experiment. I took a group of people I considered to be committed, hardworking Muslims who are doing lots of Islamic work. And the experiment was this. I conducted a survey amongst them to find out how many of them have actually engaged with the Quran. And sure enough, if I said, have you all read the Quran? Yes, we've read the Quran. Have you read it in Arabic? You've read it in Arabic from cover to cover. Many of them said yes. Some of them said, we are learning and so on. We have managed to finish. We've done quite a bit during the month of Ramadan. Beyond that, how many of you have read the Quran with a translation that you can understand, in this case, English? And very few of them raised their hand, if any at all. But I can recall raised their hands, which is very sad. Because you claim that you have put all of your belief in this text, this Quran that you have with you, that you would live and you would die by this book called the Quran. Muslims were there burning, standing up, giving their lives for this book, isn't it? When the Quran was being insulted. Yet, even for people who were active Islamic workers, they had not read nor understood anything from cover to cover. If I brought a novel of this size, Harry Potter or something else, and I said, look, this is the latest which has come out, you would say, but, can I borrow it? Can I read it? And then, within, maybe before the night is over, you can be finished with the book. To read this from cover to cover will not take more than about 3 to 4 hours to read. That's the size of any standard novel size to read. Just reading the Arabic text. Can you not find 3 hours to be able to read the book of Allah that you claim that is so important to you, that is a form of divine revelation, the last revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So these are the things that we want, inshallah. So finding the time to be able to reach and being a courageous, action-oriented risk taker, to be able to take the initiative to get things done. And there are simple things that you can do to get things done. Now you have the IT, and most of you are so savvy with social media and Facebook and all of that. And it's important to be able to utilize all of these means to be able to do so much. And you can do it from your home. How many of you know about Khan Academy? Raise your hand if you know about Khan Academy. Okay? So most of you know about Khan Academy. How many of you have listened to Khan Academy's, the founder, his story on TED Talks? Okay, a couple of you had looked at it. Khan Academy started simply with Mr. Khan, who is a Muslim from Pakistan. His niece, his nephews asking, well, look, they couldn't understand certain things about the subject that they were studying at school. And therefore, they wanted him to help. And so he lived in their city, and they would come across, and he would explain how to do different types of algebra and maths and what have you, and so forth and so on. And they understood. But then he had to move and go to another city. And so it was no longer possible to meet. But they said that, look, you've helped us so much. Why don't you continue and perhaps make some short videos? Which he did. He made short videos all by himself in his room, just one room, with a computer. And he would just record himself, this is the way you answer the question. Having done so, then he would post the videos to them. And after a while, when he asked them, what did you think about the videos? What do you think the response was? They said that we prefer the videos than you. We love the videos even more than we like what you've done for us when we met you. The reason being is that we can rewind the videos. We can go over it again. But you have to explain it again, and maybe you may not be as receptive as you were the first time. So a simple idea like that. And so we started to make more and say, well, look, our friends also, they want to hear, they don't understand the same concepts. Started and posted them online. And after a while, others looked at it and became, more hits on the website. More hits on the website. Until it started to gradually increase. Such that Google realized, hold on, there is something going on here. There is, there is something that we can, perhaps this is something that we can work with. So they decided, well, look, here is $6 million. $6 million, can you take this thing and make it into something bigger? One man in a room. Continued, one man in a room with a video camera. And he starts researching and doing more and more topics and so forth and so on, until now Khan Academy is something that is available all over the world. To the extent that in British schools now, most of the students, a lot of the students, especially for remedial classes, they're just given Khan Academy. Say, look, go home, look at these Khan Academy videos, and then come back next day. In many schools, students have been told, we're not going